Hey guys, welcome back. I'm here, Back Driven Channel, with a special guest. I got Gerardo here. He is the CEO and owner of Environmental BNR Environmental.
Yes, sir.
So that's your main company. You also have a podcast,
Yep.
right? Podcast Catch a Pump.
Yep. Catch a pump with Gerardo Barboza.
Awesome. And then you're newly married.
Yes, newly married, May 10th.
And both of you have I don't know if you were born here or in Mexico, but both of you come from Mexico.
Yeah, we were both born in Denver, but both of our parents.
Is that where you met?
Yeah.
In Denver?
Yep.
Yeah. So look, why don't you start off by sharing with everybody here, like who is Gerardo and how was like your childhood? Because now you have a business,
right?
And your company's doing, you're doing well, millions,
right?
But that's not always that's what people see now,
right?
But people don't see like how you started your business, what got you into business, like where did you learn? And you're another example of, somebody that's Mexican American like myself, that I don't know how your childhood was, but mine was a little bit rough in the way that I didn't speak English. Nobody gave me an opportunity. Nobody gave me a shot. And I had to learn everything by myself, trial and error, got bullied and made fun of. And, I just fought through it. And then eventually I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of self-improvement, hired mentors, and that led to opening one company, another company. But how was yours, your childhood? Gerardo, how did you start? You were born in Denver. Were you middle class? Were you poor? Did you have some money?
Oh, man. And, this is actually one of the reasons why, I started following you too, man, because I just feel like there's so much that
how long ago was that?
Relate to you. This was probably about the first time I saw some of your content, actually, was the one about what was it? It was something about the wife. It was like a real controversial piece of content. I can't remember exactly what it was. Oh, about the FHA.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny that you bring this up because I'm literally doing that right now. I went.
So you got married before FHA?
No. I went under contract and bought my own FHA property. And she had got our first home under her name only, and we got both FHA properties under contract, and then we got married on May 10th.
So you followed my guidelines.
So I saw that. Yeah, that was the first piece of content I ever saw from you, and I was like,
did that keep you from not getting married?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, we had been engaged since 2020. I proposed. I proposed in September of 2020.
And then you saw my video after that?
And then I saw your video like shortly after that. Yeah. And then I was like, babe, look at this guy. This guy knows what he's talking about. Like, this is what we got to do. And like,
what were her thoughts?
She was with it, man. Like, my wife is a hustler, man. She's a hustler. And that's why, I'm bringing her with us to come to the event next month on the 20th, 21st, and see if she can connect with your wife, see what she can teach her as well. But yeah, like that's one of the big reasons why, I feel like I relate a lot to you. And then, like you said, there's not a lot of Mexicans that are in this space, so when I saw the moment to, get the mentorship from you, it was literally, I went on the Instagram live last week, right? I was on Instagram live last week. I watched you for 2 minutes and you sent me the link. I made the payment and it happened so fast, and that's how I ended up here. But it was a no-brainer for me, man, because, it's like you said, I grew up the same way, man. I didn't know how to speak English until I was 6, 6, 7.
That was just like me.
Yeah. And so
you speak fluent in Spanish?
Yeah, I'm fluent in Spanish, yeah. So, and yeah, it was the same thing. Like, we grew up in a rough neighborhood in Denver up until I was about 5, 6. And then after that, my daddy started making better money. We moved to the suburbs after that, around that time. But it was a tough transition because the school that I was at, the teacher spoke Spanish. And this was in Denver, and so there was a ton of kids that were in the same situation as me, so much so that they had to hire teachers that only spoke Spanish. So I remember my preschool, and my kindergarten teachers, they only spoke Spanish. Everybody in my class spoke Spanish. That was the demographic. When I moved to the suburbs.
So they were teaching you in Spanish?
Yeah.
So they didn't even teach English?
No.
And that's a school here?
That was a school in Denver, Colorado, yeah.
Wow. There's a lot of Hispanics over there.
There's a ton of Hispanics over there, man. Yeah. And like there's like, we get put in like this box, like this is your guys' area. You guys stay here. These are your schools, these are your programs, this is your area.
I never heard about a school here that teaches you in Spanish.
Yeah. So it was very, and like now in retrospect, it's very rare. You don't see a lot of that. And so sorry, I'm gonna get a drink. And so we grew up in a rough neighborhood. I had an older brother, and it was the same thing with him. When we moved into the suburbs, we had to go to like ELA classes, ESL classes. Like they would separate us from the rest of the school, from the rest of the class, and they were like, "This is your group." I remember even like kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, like. I rode the short bus to school because they were like, you don't even know English. You're going to like, I was riding the short bus to school because they were like, I was just, different, I guess. So it wasn't easy, man. And same thing. Like I became embarrassed, that I was Mexican. I became embarrassed that I couldn't communicate with people. I would try my hardest to fit in. When my mom, I would tell her like, Mom, don't talk to me when you're dropping me off at school because I don't want everyone to know that I'm Mexican, And so like for a long time I was like that, and like now it's not the case at all. Like now I'm I'll scream at the top of my lungs, like, que viva Mexico, cabrones,
Yeah.
And that's like, it was a big shift for me growing up because in middle school, high school, I just grew up around like white people and black people, and I never really embraced my own culture. And it wasn't until like I turned 18 and I started working. And when I started working with my dad doing property restoration, all I worked with was Mexicans, and I learned how to work hard, and I had to, improve my Spanish, and I had to embrace it as well. And when I saw what it was to truly be Mexican, to truly be a hard worker, to be involved in the culture, to be working with my raza, 40, 50 hours a week, it was a big shift in my life. And that's when I kind of started noticing, like, at 19, my mentor's name's Luis Balmaceda out there in Denver. He's a business coach.
Yeah.
But I met him, and he was the first asbestos abatement company owner that I had met that was Mexican, And so that was a big shift in my mentality as well, because I was like, wow, we don't see owners that are Mexican that are doing these things. And so for me, I was like, I kind of started watching what he was doing, and I kind of started following in his footsteps and just kind of seeing the things that he was doing. So yeah, man, like I relate a ton. Like I see a lot of your content and I relate to it, and I see the things that you're doing. And I was telling my mom, I was showing my mom all your stuff. I was like, look, Mom, this guy is Mexican. He's doing all this stuff. We don't see a lot of that.
What does she think about my content?
Man, she thinks you're amazing, man. Really? She thinks you're a great representation of what Mexicans truly are.
Some of the women out there, they won't like me because they'll say that I'm like machista.
No, that's all of Mexico.
Right? Mexicans are.
Yeah. And I don't believe that,
I think if anything, like men from here are like sissies.
They are, man.
They don't have any balls nowadays.
Right. And like in Mexico, it's like el hombre manda, like the man is in charge, and that's it. And obviously, like I'm a machista in the sense that I'm gonna do the honorable, manly thing every time.
The way I see it is like I feel like men need to protect and provide for their families. So like it's a no-brainer. Like when we get in the car, like who's gonna drive? The man.
Every time.
Like the man drives.
Right.
That's and I don't know, like now, like like I see I see the wife driving and then the man sat on the passenger seat, and I'm like, dude, what kind of man are you? Like you get bullied by your wife,
right? Or splitting bills.
Yeah,
50-50 on bills.
So I just feel like I'm very blunt, and I just say it like it is. Like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna protect my family. I'm gonna provide. I'm the boss, and that's what it is. So I say things like that, and especially nowadays, because now there seems things have, like, from what I see, times have changed, especially here in the U.S., where they're promoting more. The woman is going to be the one in charge, and the man just has to take a step back and kind of like buckle down. And I'm like, dude, that's not how I grew up. Like, well, how I grew up in Mexico, like, I don't know if you watched boxing.
Oh yeah.
But I grew up watching Julio Cesar Chavez.
Oh yeah.
The dad.
The GOAT.
And he was like a fucking, like, a killer, and he was like a macho, and like the old school Mexicans.
You got to be like that to be 89-0, man.
Yeah. So that's where I come from. So, you know, now with soft men don't like me because the shoe fits of the things I say.
Right.
And then certain women also don't like me because, oh, he's a machista. But what they should focus on is, hey, you know what? This guy, like people like us, like, we bust our asses. We wake up early. We go to sleep late. We don't finish till we're done. You know, till we pay the bills. Exactly. And we provide a beautiful lifestyle for our families, and we pay all our people. You know, and so that's what I think people should focus on. But instead of, oh, you know what? It's okay to be a soft man. You know what? Yeah, let your wife make more money than you, or your girl make more money than you. Like, I think if a girl makes more, if you're going out or dating a girl that makes a lot of money, then that just means you got to make more money as a man. But that's a whole different story. But going back to you. So when you followed me like 2020, right?
Yeah.
Like, since then.
Yep.
What made you wait? Have you ever attended any driven events?
Mm-mm.
What made you wait till last week or that week when you just signed up?
I had just been busy, man. I had just been busy trying to, you know, grind it out. Like,
you think it was like the interaction though? Because I popped
definitely
up and then I'm like, hey, Gerardo, what's up? Are we doing this or not?
That stuff goes a long way, man. Yeah. That stuff goes a long way. And there's people out here that have the money and can do things like that. And sometimes they just need that little push, you know? Sometimes they need that connection. And it's something that I took myself, you know, it was a learning thing for me because, you know, I want to coach people too. I want to help people get to this level as well.
There's unlimited money right now.
Exactly.
In that space.
Yeah. And so when the opportunity came up, man, I was just like, you know, like, I remember I saw you post the other day. It was like, you're asking your wife if you can spend your own money. Like, you got to talk to your wife. And I thought it was so funny because I did call my wife and I was like, babe, there's this program. I think I'm going to do it. It's, you know, X amount of money and I got to go out there to Cali, and I just wanted to let you know. I didn't want to do something, you know, because we have a 3-year-old and, you know, it's hard. And I'm already working a ton, you know, and I already feel bad about having to leave her with the baby and do everything herself already. So I did check in with her. I said, hey, babe, you know what? I think I need to do this because I'm trying to branch out into real estate, you know, and I've been in the market for a real estate mentor for a long time. And now I'm becoming a landlord for the first time next week. And so I was like, things kind of align, right? I feel like God kind of aligns things for me at the right time. And I was seeing the signs everywhere. I was like, it's time to pull the trigger on this, you know, because I have people in my own city that are real estate investors and they're making good money, got Lambos and stuff. I've reached out to them before. Hey, can you mentor me? And, you know, they just leave me on red, you know, and I'm like, all right, it's cool. And it's people that I know personally, you know? And so I was like, you know what, if these guys don't want to work with me, screw it. There's a guy out here doing way better than them that's willing to mentor me. I'm gonna pull the trigger and I'm gonna show up and grind it out, you know? That's the type of person I am. And I've spent probably, you know, in the last 12 months, I've probably spent around like $30,000 to $35,000 in personal development. You know, I went to see Andy Elliott, my own coach, Luis Balmaceda with the Excolo programs, as well as, you know, now with you, and then as well as with like Skylar Lewis and Rise Up Kings. And so like I'm investing in myself, my personal development. And, you know, I did a John C. Maxwell mastermind. Like, I'm never going to stop, you know? And then so starting this program with you, like, I'm very, very happy, very, very proud that I started this journey because real estate, that's that next mountain I want to climb, man. I don't necessarily want to do like fix and flips and things like that. I want to do more like buy and hold, as well as like multifamily apartment units, things like that. Is kind of my goal. But I'm like, I need a mentor. I need somebody that's been doing this. And then, again, I want somebody that aligns with my views, my values, right? And I feel when I watch your content, I see a lot of things that you do. I want to be like you, when I see people like that, I'm like, these are the people that I want to be with. These are the people that I want mentoring me, and that I'm willing to invest in their program and as well as invest in myself to make something happen.
Yeah. And you're 29, right?
Yes.
So you're way ahead of me right now. Like you're 29, you have a business, you already broke $1 million in revenue, and you also make babies faster than me. Like you're en route to like maybe 10.
Yeah.
But you are investing in yourself, and you're only 29. You already broke $1 million a year, over $1 million a year, and it's only going to get better from here on. Now the big mistake that most people in their 20s, late 20s make is that they're like, man, I have 10 grand in the bank. I have 50 grand in the bank. I have 100 grand in the bank. Whatever they have, maybe more. Or it could be like, it could be 20 or 10, not a lot. But they're scared. They're so scared to spend it to gain the knowledge that's going to save them a lot of time. Because you pay people to buy time. It's kind of like when you have a business, but you're a solopreneur and you don't want to hire employees. You don't want to hire an assistant. You don't want to hire full-time people. You think so low of yourself because you don't feel like you're going to be able to afford them. That's the only reason why somebody won't grow their business. They won't hire people because they are so insecure of their ability to produce income. And they're like, what if something goes wrong? I can't pay for them, right? But the only thing it should do is motivate you to make even more money and do more. Mm-hmm. So for you, you're 29, you're making over $1 million a year. You have your business with your pops, which can't get any better than that. Person that you love, I don't know if you love your dad the most, but like my dad's like one of those people that I love the most in the world.
Yeah, I do.
And I want to be with him. I want to spend a lot of time with him. Mm-hmm. I want to see him, till while he's alive. I want to be with him as much as I can. But most people that are your age, they're not thinking about, I'm going to spend big money on improving myself. So you're just buying the blueprint that's going to get you there way quicker. And you're going to get there way quicker. And then people are going to be like, people are probably telling you like, why are you spending so much money? Why are you doing that? Man, that's stupid. But then they're broke. So like, why would you listen to them? Like me, my life didn't start changing until I started investing in self-improvement and in mentors. And two of my first mentors, my first two super successful mentors, I don't know if you know this, but were Grant Cardone and Patrick Bet-David. So I hired them. I hired them when they were just starting. So like when I hired Grant, it was 2014.
Oh, wow.
2014, actually 2013. So 2010, like Grant wasn't doing that well. Like 2008, he was almost going to go bankrupt. He said it. I learned that later, but he was going to go bankrupt when all that stuff happened. And then in 2010, he was only making about $2 million a year. And that's when he hired Jared, and then he started getting on social media, growing it a little bit. So 3 years later, like he was just getting started. He had like maybe 20 or actually he had like 8,000 followers or something like that. And that's when I hired him. And that's when I also went and saw him in Cancun. So I went to Cancun. That was the first time I met him. And then I just started investing in all his stuff. Mentorship. I would buy the VIP, the $10,000 tickets in the front. I would go on those VIP special, like masterminds with very little people, were very intimate. And then I won the wife over, Elena Cardone. So everybody was going after Grant. And I said, you know what? It makes more sense. While everybody's going after Grant can't talk to 10 people at a time. Mm-hmm. So everybody's just there in a circle, just kind of being fans around him. And nobody paid attention to Elena. So I said, it makes more sense if I go to Elena and make Elena my best friend, because at the end of the night, they're going to sleep together and they're going to be talking about Albert. So that when I went to Cancun in 2013, I made Elena my friend, my buddy. And then she was talking about me to Grant. And then long story short, we spent a lot of time together and I learned a lot from him. But then I said, you know what? I said, I don't want to learn from so many people because then you start getting confused. You'll get very confused if you're like learning from Gary Vee and Grant Cardone. They're very different. They're both successful, but they do things, they're the opposites. So you're just going to get confused. Well, he said, do this, and you're saying, don't do that. So I started just focusing on less, but more quality that's going to help me more in where I am. So then Grant taught me a lot of sales and marketing, promotion, like just being like 10xing, doing more. But then I was doing a lot of that, and I didn't have operation systems and processes for your business to run without you. And Grant was not really like a business guy. Grant was more of the local celebrity, like that Ty Lopez, like the personal brand, but like you are the face, and if Grant dies, the business dies. Because it all relies on Grant, it all relies on Ty Lopez. So then I started looking for a mentor that ran a business, a company with a lot of employees and salespeople, but like a company. And then I said I came up with Patrick Bet-David. Like Patrick Bet-David has this PHP agency. They have a lot of agents. They have a lot of employees. And it's a company that's kind of similar to mortgage. They sell policies, insurance policies. We sell mortgage loans, So I started studying him. So I invested in him. Paid $10,000 for 4 sessions. Probably the best $10,000 I've ever spent. And he started teaching me operation systems, processes. So then I combined both, and that allowed me to scale. But I didn't do that till, it took me some time. You're doing it already at this age. So by 35, if you just attack hard, you're going to be a billionaire.
Yeah, that's my goal, man. I know I definitely want that goal of, mentally, I do have that goal of, $500 million, that $500 million mark, anywhere between like the ages of like 35 and 38. And we've already kind of created a plan that's going to help us get there. I don't know if you've heard of Tommy Mello.
I haven't.
Tommy Mello. So yeah. Tommy Mello right now, he's worth $1 billion. He works in garage door services.
Oh, really?
Out of Phoenix. Yeah.
So what does he do? Install garage doors?
A1 Garage, $500 million. He had a $500 million exit from the last company that he sold. Right now, he started a new company, A1 Garage Doors.
What was the previous company he exited?
I can't remember what it was called.
With who?
With Tommy Mello.
Me?
You did, yeah. Yeah.
With that guy that was going to help us write the book.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I know him.
Yeah, you do. So yeah, Tommy Mello.
You saw that podcast?
Yeah. I saw it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Tommy Mello. I didn't even know who he was until January.
Yeah.
I don't know who he was until January, and I met him at the Andy Elliott sales training. That was on January 21st of this year. And like a lot of the stuff that he's doing, like, he kind of broke it down, like break down the numbers. What do the numbers look like for you to scale from here to there in this amount of time? How much would you have to sell? And it's like that Goggins mentality, You don't really know until you sit down, do the numbers, and then from there, actually attack that plan with those numbers in mind and try to hit those goals at the end of every week, And so that was kind of a big shift that I had as well in learning from all these different types of mentors, trying to hit KPIs. Like, I didn't even know what a KPI was until like maybe 6 months ago. I heard the term all the time, but I didn't know it stood for key performance metric, or key performance indicator.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a lot of these like acronyms meant, until I really started digging and understanding what the result was going to be of knowing what these things meant.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that, like my biggest thing is marketing. Like I'm great at sales. Like I sold 1 point, it was actually 1.68 that I sold last year. And I'm great at sales, but I'm a better marketer than I am anything. And I learned everything that I learned about marketing, honestly, like 90% of it, I learned for free on Gary Vee's YouTube, and I took all of that knowledge that I got for free. And I operate with that same mentality. Like everything that I know, I will give to anybody for free.
What kind of marketing do you like to do?
So I'm trying to something that Gary Vee talks about a lot is, day trading attention where there's underpriced attention, right? So when email first came out and they weren't charging anything for email, and it was free, and he was making a ton of money in his dad's liquor business doing that. And so I took that same mentality, and I make a shit ton of money just from email marketing. But we also do pay per click. We also do, we work on our SEO. But my biggest thing right now is trying to work on organic marketing, right? Because that's going to cost the least amount of money. You want to maximize your return on investment. That's my mentality.
Do you run a lot of ads?
Yeah, we run a ton of ads. We run a ton of Google ads. We run Facebook ads. We're going to start running TikTok ads now as well as like YouTube shorts and reels. We're kind of like branching out and starting to dip our toes into that area, just because it's super competitive in my industry, man. In property restoration, especially in Denver, like my competitors, they're spending, 20 to 40,000 a month, the big companies, on marketing just on pay-per-click ads. That doesn't benefit me to go and spend $20,000 a month on pay-per-click ads when I can make a TikTok with Max, and that TikTok can bring in, $100,000 worth of business every month. And I spent $1,000 in making the video and on the ads, like that ROI, it's 1%. Whereas if I spend 20,000 to get that same 100,000, we're talking about 20%. It's a big, big margin, and that's kind of my mentality.
So you get a lot of business from TikTok?
We've been getting a lot of business from TikTok now, like the last 2 months, because we started posting a ton of videos on there. We're posting at least 5 or 6 videos every single week on TikTok, and we've been getting a lot of good feedback on it. And we don't even, we get maybe like between 5 and 10,000 views, like 500 likes, not a lot. Our target audience, people that are actually going to hire us, I think it's the most important thing. You don't have to have 1 million followers to make $1 million. You could have 500 followers, and if it's 500 rich people, you're going to make that money that you're looking for from your ideal client. So it's also targeting your ideal
wait till
client.
you start posting 5 to 6 times a day.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and like that's our goal. We're trying to expand, and like we're kind of new, like we're new in that organic field, and that's what it is. Like when you start getting that organic reach, I think that's where that ROI is much better, because it's like with email marketing, for every dollar we spend on email marketing, we get $2 back, right? That's like 100% return. That's the kind of things that you want. It's underpriced attention, and it's like Gary Vee's new book that just came out, Day Trading Attention. I just got it like last week, but I think that's a big concept of it, is not romanticizing where you're getting the business from. Oh, I'm getting a ton of business from TikTok. That's going to stop one day, or same thing with Facebook. Oh, I'm getting a ton of business from Facebook. It's going to come to a stop. You have to be on the lookout for what's coming next, not be romantic about what worked before in the past, and understanding that that's going to shift. Like I used to get a ton of work from Google ads, and now it's like, I wouldn't say it's anywhere near the same. Google ads now more people know about it. Now it's getting more expensive, more competitive. It's not as worth it as it was like 5 years ago. 5 years ago, if I spent $2,000 on Google ads, it would get me $100,000 worth of work. Now today, if I spend $2,000 worth of ads, I'm lucky to get 20,000. So it's a big shift on price and those kinds of things. So the biggest thing is, now I think TikTok is that underpriced attention right now, because you could spend $1,000 on a TikTok ad, right? And it's gonna bring in more business for us than spending $10,000.
What kind of ad would you run on TikTok?
So on TikTok, it depends. We target specific areas, right? And we target these areas that we know is more older people, because these older people, they're going to have the insurance coverages that we need for us to come in and actually get the job approved by insurance. And then secondly, we also want to make sure that that demographic that we're targeting is also going to reciprocate with the ad and is somebody that requires our services. So it does get very intricate. Like it does have to be very specific. But I think when we do it that way, the return is much better than, like, because we have a ton of data from the last 3 months where we were just kind of posting videos and just seeing what would work, right? And we posted what, like 50 videos. Out of those 50 videos, maybe 10 of them did really good, right? So out of those 10 videos, we're going to take those 10 videos, we're going to make 5 videos related to each one of those topics, make another 50 videos, but they're going to be ones like topics that actually resonate with people, that people actually want to see, like ones that are actually getting views, actually getting the likes, the reposts, and all the engagement, comments and things like that. So
do you know your margin for your business, like your margins?
So our goal on every single project is always like 50%, and we job cost appropriately. And with insurances, like we have to have itemized estimates and things like that. So those kinds of things work in our favor a lot. We don't take on projects where we're going to make like, less than 50% because it's just not worth it. It's not worth our time. We do very good work. We're very proud about what we do. And, we believe we're the best in the business, and especially in the Denver area. And a lot of our content is focused on pretty much relaying the information that people don't know. People don't know what asbestos is. People don't know how, damaging mold can be to you and your family. People don't know what steps to take when you have a flood in your basement. And so we create content around those things to educate people, and that kind of gives us that authority figure.
How bad is mold?
Mold is really bad, man. Mold can cause whooping cough. It can cause allergies. It can cause.
Well, that's why probably I have a lot of allergies.
Yeah.
When I grew up, we had mold.
Yeah. So it'll cause a ton of allergies in people. It'll affect your breathing. It'll affect your skin. It could, there's a ton of stuff that come with, and a lot of times you don't know because you can't see it. A lot of the times it's behind the drywall. It's in between the baseboard and the wall.
Because the mold's when it gets like green, right?
Yeah. It gets green, black. Sometimes it's white. It's like a white fuzzy looking type of thing, and people don't understand how bad it actually can be for you. And so we try to educate people. Like, here's what we recommend. Here's our process. When my guys go in to remove mold, they have to take a 40-hour certification class. My guys are trained. They have all the proper protective equipment. They wear, suits, respirators. They plastic off the area that's going to be cleaned, or, drywall that's going to be removed. We have air filtration systems.
So mold is that scary?
Yeah, it's that scary. It's very, very dangerous, especially over a prolonged amount of time, and that's what happens. These people, they live in these environments that are super moldy, and they don't know what's happening to them. They don't know why they're getting headaches. They don't know why they're nauseous all the time. They don't know why their skin's always itchy. They don't know why they're always sneezing, and you'd be surprised. I get a ton of people that call in and they're like, well, I have a brand new house. That can't be it. And I'm like, it's actually the brand new house is the level of construction that's going on these days. It's not the same level of construction that was going on 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, so the quality is not there. And so just because you have a new house, it doesn't mean that, it can't be infested with mold.
So if I was around mold years ago, does that affect you permanently for the rest of your life?
No, not mold. Not mold. As soon as you're out of that environment, you'll be all right. With asbestos, that's not the case. Asbestos has a latency period. If you get exposed to asbestos today, you're not going to know until 20, 40 years from now.
Really?
Yeah.
What is that?
So asbestos is a naturally occurring mineral, and they used it in building materials like drywall, popcorn, and soundproofing, acoustics.
Popcorn is the roof, right?
Yes, sir, the ceiling.
Yeah.
And so that stuff, what happens is these fibers are very microscopic. And once they get in your lungs, they get embedded in your lungs. What happens is over time, your body can't get rid of it because it's so small, and pound for pound, it's stronger than steel. So what happens is in your lungs, it starts to turn into mesothelioma, lung cancer, asbestosis. And there is no cure for that. Once you get diagnosed with one of these illnesses, you have between 6 and 18 months to live.
Wow.
And this is something that could have happened years ago, right? It could have happened 20 years ago, but that exposure now, 20 years later, is going to start affecting you.
Because most old houses in the like in those in the cheaper areas, they have mold and popcorn and the
All that
houses just
stuff.
look like because they don't take care of the houses.
Yep.
So all of that population is in danger then.
Exactly. And so the big thing with that is that it's a lot of landlords, commercial spaces, people that have money that would be responsible for these people getting sick, you know?
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of exposure on the topic. You know, you don't see it on the news a lot. You don't see, lawsuits being won, and even lawsuits that do get won, like it's very like hushed, right? Like it's not something that people talk about a lot because they just they don't want to get sued, you know? Apartment complexes, commercial buildings. Over there in Denver, Metro State University, it's a college downtown. There was 2 teachers that got asbestosis, and unfortunately, they both passed away. And obviously, they sued the school, and it was a whole thing. But you don't see a lot of that stuff getting exposed because the people that it affects, these are the same people controlling media, things like that. So it's not something that a lot of people know about, and it's not something like, for example, the CDPHE in Denver, the health departments. You guys have a CDPHE here, but it's the California Department of Health and Environment, or there's Colorado Department of Health and Environment. They don't do a lot of like teaching on this, like in real estate classes. Like they don't even touch on the subject, and you would think that a real estate agent or property, agent would know what entails in something like a property, like asbestos or mold or something along those lines. But yeah, like nobody really touches on the subject, so our goal is to educate the people so that they know what's going on. And if they have it in their property, they know who to call, somebody like us that's a professional, as well as somebody that's gonna, actually care about the project and do things properly, So I think that's kind of one of the things that separates us. I don't know a single company in the United States that's making the content that we're making on a regular basis about, asbestos, mold, water restoration, fire restoration, and what steps to take when you're dealing with something like that.
What made you get into this industry? Like when did you start this company and why?
So we started in 2019, but my dad's been doing it for 30 years.
Oh, really?
When my dad moved to Denver, Colorado, he moved to Denver, Colorado because they offered him a job in this industry. When he moved to Colorado, he saw how amazing it was. My mom and him lived in Phoenix prior to that. And that's where my older brother was born. But my dad came over here. They offered him a job. He was making good money. And he was like, cool, we're going to pack it up. We're going to go to Colorado, and as you would say, the rest is history. So then as soon as I turned 18, I had 2 kids already. As soon as I turned 18, like I had
You had 2 kids at 18?
Yeah. I had my first kid at 17. I had my second kid at 18. Yeah. So I had to get straight to work, and
you wanted to have kids that young, or
I didn't want to. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm gonna.
You didn't plan it?
Choose. No.
You weren't like, hey babe, let's have a kid. I'm 17. Let's do it.
Yeah, no. It was God's plan, and I wouldn't want it any other way because I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't that responsibility and having to take all that on. Again, the discipline of having to be a good father, the discipline of working out.
So this was these 2 kids. This was your first relationship, right?
Yes.
Previous relationship.
Yes.
And what did you learn from that? Like what did you learn? What was the biggest lesson you learned at 17 when you had your first one? Then you have another one back to back at 18, and which led you to today.
You
think it made you mature faster?
Oh yeah. Like I didn't have time to fuck around. I had 2 kids depending on me, 2 mouths I had to feed. And
did you still have your party life, or
maybe 6 months into being 18, I quit drinking altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't drink until I was about 21 years old. Again, so between the ages there and 21, I didn't drink at all. And I had a few drinks literally around that year that I was 21. I probably only had like 2 or 3 drinks. And then from there, I was just so locked in on my fitness stuff because like my goal and dream is always to be a bodybuilder. You know, I want to be a bodybuilder and start competing. I actually just started, I had a consultation with a coach on Friday or Thursday, yesterday. Had a consultation with my coach just to get that process started. But that was kind of always been in the books for me. But yeah, like having to be a father, having to be responsible and do all that, like it was easy for me to step away from the partying and the drinking and the smoking. And like, cause prior to that, prior to turning 18, like I was drinking and smoking weed every day. Like I would waste my day away just like playing video games. Like there was days I literally played video games for 24 hours straight and didn't even sleep, you know? And it was the biggest waste of time. And so when I had my kids, it was like, all right, I can't mess around. These people are depending on me. And my dad, he really took me under his wing and was like, you know, and he did what a father should do, is teach his son how to hunt, you know. And my dad, he took that responsibility. He took me with him, took me under his wing. And I started working with him. And he taught me everything he knows. Like my dad is the best asbestos abatement supervisor in the state of Colorado. Hands down. My dad has run, you know, $10 million jobs that came out to be, you know, over 50% profit in the end. Projects that went on for 2 years, 3 years. He managed over, you know, 40 employees. So he was able to teach me all of these things, you know. And when I saw, you know, they were paying my dad $25 an hour to do this, you know, and his bonus was $500, you know, after a 2-year project.
Yeah.
And so I took that step back and I was like, that's not fair. That's not fair for somebody that is my dad's caliber. So, you know, obviously my dad, he's not a businessman. He's not this, he's not that. But one thing he is he knows how to run a fucking job site, you know.
This is like your operations person?
Yeah. So my dad, he's like head of operations. You know, he manages all the projects. He's the one that's on site. He's the competent person on there. Me and my younger brother, we focus on sales and just like management, marketing, things like that. But yeah, if it wasn't for my dad, I definitely wouldn't be here today. So it was because of him that we're in this industry today. You know, I've been doing it now 11 years. I'm 29. I've been doing it now 11 years. My younger brother, he's been doing it 6 years. My older brother, he's been doing it for 10 years as well. And that's how our family came.
So you work with your dad?
Yep.
And then 2019, you said you started your own company.
Yeah, me and my dad, we decided to start our own company.
How was that? Like, how was that process? Did you know how to start a company, or did you just Google it, or
fuck no? And I had no guidance either, man. And it's funny because the first project that I got was actually from a real estate buddy of mine. His name's Hugo Parra in Denver. He's a real estate professional out there too. He does fix and flips, things like that. He connected me with somebody that they needed a project done. And at that time, we didn't have our contractor license, but I had a friend who did. My dad had a friend who did. So I sold this job. It was the first job I ever sold. It was $25,000. And we made 50% profit on that. I used my buddy's license, my dad's buddy's license to do the project. We got it done. We got paid. We made 50% profit on it. With that 50% profit, to get the license was $2,000, you know? So me and my dad, we split the profits, and then we both were like, cool, we each put in 1,000. We each put in 1,000, and we got the license, you know. 3 months later, we had the license.
Yeah.
And we were operating out of our garage, man. We operated out of our garage up until last February. So last February, we got our first warehouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got our first warehouse.
This February or last year?
This February.
Okay.
Yeah, we got our first warehouse. And literally between January and now, I've probably invested over $250,000 in infrastructure for our business. You know, I've probably spent $90,000 on equipment, $110,000 on vehicles. I've spent about $50,000 on $35,000 on mentorships, and then probably around like $15,000 to $20,000 on like softwares, trainings for the softwares, and also like training my team to be able to use all these systems, creating standard operating procedures, and just a whole infrastructure, man, of plethora of things that just you need.
Yeah.
But I didn't know all these things. A lot of this came from my mentor, my mentor, Luis Balmaceda. he really guided me in that direction. So he had a property restoration franchise, and I was going to do a property restoration franchise because I thought I didn't know enough about, like water and fire mitigation.
Yeah.
But then he kind of broke it down for me and was like, it's just a class. You just it's just a 40-hour class. You're going to learn everything that you need to know from that. Mm-hmm. What I didn't know was about like marketing and, all that stuff. As I thought I knew, but I didn't know as much as I needed to know.
Yeah. How many salespeople do you have? Do you have more salespeople or just you?
We have 2 salespeople. It's me and my brother that handle the sales, but I'm actually in the hiring process of getting a guy just solely dedicated to sales.
So the 1.6 million, you did it just with you and your brother?
That was just me alone. My brother didn't sell anything until he sold his first job last November, and it was about $11,000. But we got 50% in 23, and then we didn't do the project until 24, so we received the other 24. But I've been kind of just like incubating him and kind of just showing him the ropes, as well as sending him to doing like training. So we also did the Contractor Sales Academy over there in Denver with Tom Reber. He's actually bringing Tommy Mello to Denver in September for the Contractor Sales Academy conference that he does every year. It's like it's kind of like your driven events, but he does it once a year. And so that's something that we invested in as well. And then he's taken that. They have like what they call the Shinfu sales training process. Yeah. And that sales training has really helped him. Like since then, he's probably sold about like 50,000, in this first year where he's actually started selling, which is huge for him. And so I'm kind of training him, and we're getting the ball rolling with him. But yeah, man, it's been a journey with our family business.
So for people watching this, what services, like what are your top, what do you say, your top 3 or your top 5 services that you offer for homeowners, or is it for who's your typical client?
Property managers, insurance agents and adjusters.
Yeah.
And then lastly, definitely homeowners. I think those are our top 3. Just because like apartment buildings, they're constantly having water leaks or mold issues. And like, it's so many, like essentially if it's 100 units, it's like 100 homes in one building. Whereas if we go do one home on its own, it's one job. It's usually one and done.
Yeah.
It's very rare that a household has multiple, water losses or fire damage or even asbestos abatement.
Is your biggest referral partner insurance companies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we make the most money off of insurance.
So you do you call them and build relationships? Or?
Yeah, man. And it's a process, because it's one of those things that it doesn't show. Like I don't meet with an adjuster today and get a project tomorrow. It's something that like we have to cultivate, we have to work on, we have to take them out to lunch, we have to, because it's not just me. There's me and 100 other restoration companies trying to do the same thing. So I have to do something that makes us stand out.
What's your average job that you charge?
So on the water side, average job is probably around like 5,500. But when we get like a major water loss, just doing the basement can be around 100 grand. If it's like a 3-bedroom basement with a living room and like a bathroom, a project like that can be like $100,000 or more, for water mitigation as well as for reconstruction. Pretty much have to remodel the whole basement. So we make our bread and butter like off of those big ones, but we are not going to turn away, a $5,000 job either.
Got it.
And if we can do, 3 or 4 or 5,000 jobs in a week, then, that's 20 grand, and then that's going to be helpful.
And you're also going to be launching a coaching program, or?
Yeah. So that's something that's in the works right now.
What are you, talk about that really quick. What are you going to teach people, and where can people know more about it?
Right. So the structure of it for the coaching program is not necessarily a coaching program. My plan is to franchise B&R Environmental. And my ideal client is obviously like a Hispanic community.
Yeah.
Because again, every restoration company, right now, I guarantee you it's Hispanics doing all the work, and it's, some guy raking all the cash in, right? So we know how to do the work. We just don't know and have the resources to invest, and we don't have the knowledge that it would take to do that. So right now you can open up a franchise right now for probably $150,000 investment, $50,000 franchise fee, and that'll get you started. But you're gonna have to pay 8 to 12% royalty fees every single month. My structure, the way I'm planning on doing it, is going to be subscription based. It's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a smaller franchise fee, and then obviously a lot of that is going to be like more of a. I'm going to be more hands on with the coaching than your average franchise, because my mentor, he did a franchise, and what he taught me was that they don't teach you shit. You know, they send you off on your own. They rake in all the royalties. And they kind of leave you, the structure that they give you ends up not even being the structure that you use.
Yeah.
You end up having to find everything out on your own anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to take a different approach and actually give something people with actual value. You know, a lot of these franchises, you're buying just the name, you know, and with us, you're not buying the name, you're buying so much more. You're going to be buying so much more. You're going to be bringing so much more value to yourself, your family. And then again, like our ideal client is to build up our community. That's my goal, is to build up our community so that we can be successful as well. So that we can send our kids to college, so that we can invest in properties and create generational wealth. Cause that's just not something that we see or talk about in our community.
Right.
You know, most of the times, you know, one of our, you know, grandparents or parents die and we're arguing about terrenos, we're arguing about land in Mexico. Right. And it's like, that's, you know, that's not something that we need to be doing.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we all need to have our own land. We all need to have our own infrastructure. We all need to be able to contribute. And I think doing this coaching program and doing the franchise the way that I want to do it, I think it's going to benefit us a lot. My goal is for BNR Environmental to be in all 50 states. You know, to Alaska, Hawaii.
How much would that company be worth?
Man, so right now a franchise that size probably worth around like, you know, 2 to 5 billion.
2 to 5 billion?
Yes, something like that.
Is that your goal?
Yeah. My goal is to be. I want to be the #1 property franchise company in the United States. You know, and I don't want to do that by just being a big name or just doing what these other companies are doing. I'm really trying to change the game, change the script, and bring more to the table than just a name. You know, obviously personal brand and branding, it's huge, but if you had to choose between a company that brings a big name or brings you the best customer service, I think everybody would agree that the best customer service would always outbid, you know, a big name.
Yeah. Talk about Catch a Pump. Well, that's your podcast, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's Catch a Pump because obviously you like, is it because of the fitness part?
Yeah, it's the fitness. But I get pumped about everything, man.
Yeah.
And that's why I called it Catch a Pump, because on Catch a Pump, you can catch a spiritual pump because, you know, it's very faith-based. You can catch a fitness pump, you can catch a business pump, you know, because we get pumped, man. We get pumped about everything. We get pumped about being a good dad, you know, being a good family man. All these things, they pump me up, man. So when I think about it, I'm like, dude, let's catch a pump. Let's catch a pump, not just in the gym. Let's catch a pump in church. Let's catch a pump in business. Let's catch a pump with our family. Like, let's build it up, you know, and let's get excited, because I'm the type of person that I get excited about everything.
Yeah.
I don't get excited just about making money.
Right.
I don't get excited just about going to the gym. You know, I get excited about being a good father to my kids. I get excited about going to church and getting spiritually right with God. These are the things that are core values to me, you know, and it's also the same thing. Like, for me, fitness was foundational to my success. You know, it was the first thing that I started doing consistently. You know, I wasn't going to work consistently, or I wasn't pumped about going to work every single day, but I was pumped every single day about going to the gym, you know, and being able to go to the gym every single day, you know, 5 times a week for 10 years straight. It does something to your brain, man. It changes something.
You go to the gym 5 times a week?
Yeah, sometimes more. I used to go more when I was younger, between like 21, 25.
But you get pumped up about going to the gym?
Oh yeah.
Like, you get excited?
I get so excited, man. It's probably we're excited to go to the gym right after this, man.
Because for me, it's the opposite.
Is it?
Like, I'm like, fuck, man. I fucking hate going to the gym right now.
No.
And then I feel great, amazing after I finish working out.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't like. I don't like my ideal situation is not like doing squats or working out legs or lifting heavy weights
Right.
for an hour or so, and then doing cardio for like 40 minutes. It's not in sprints or uphill or hiking or like I don't get. That's not my ideal situation. My ideal situation is if I close my eyes, like I want to be in maybe Aruba
Yeah.
or Puerto Rico, and have like a fresh like margarita, and then just a bunch of other things next to me on the white sand beach. Like that's my ideal situation. But if you do that every day, you're obviously going to get fat. You're not going to be healthy, and you're not going to make money. So how do you guys get so pumped up about the gym?
I think it's the physical results of it.
Yeah.
Being able to look in the mirror and see that, I built something up from ground zero, and then just taking the pride in that. And obviously it's not just the looks. Like I said, it was the discipline that it built for me, the ability to be able to do that for so long, so consistently. Like there's not a lot of people that can say that, you know, and like for me, like you have to learn to enjoy it. You got to rewire your brain to be able to be like, hey, you know what? This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to look great. I want to feel great. I want that discipline to bleed into, my relationship with God. I want that discipline to bleed into my relationship with my family, and especially the business. You want to be able to make money, the way that you make money. You have to be disciplined. You have to, there's these things that you have to do. And if you stopped doing them, if you stopped being consistent in that, your profits would drop, and then nobody wants that, and so for me, fitness and working out, I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
You saw my gym here?
Yeah. And I was telling him that equipment you have is the best equipment money can buy, man.
Yeah.
Panada equipment, it's Italian. I know everything about it, man.
Yeah.
I love that equipment. I've used it before. We have a pro gym in Denver. It's called Armburst Pro Gym. And they have some pieces of equipment in there like that. But to have an entire gym setup of Panada equipment, man, it's like, for me, that's like one of my dreams is to have my own gym, and a public gym. Like I want to own a public gym one day. And I want it to be just that brand of equipment, and that stuff's expensive, man.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we have locker rooms, showers.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
We have our studio here, obviously.
Yeah.
We have the training center on this side, on that side. I don't know if you saw the balcony, but we have a balcony with a nice view.
Yeah.
We have the bar, the lounge.
Yeah, it's nice. So when we saw the gym, I told him, I was like, dude, we're gonna get a gym in our office, man. We gotta catch a pump at the office, man, because that would be a game changer
then
for us.
It could be catch a pump.
For real, catch a pump. Yeah.
Yeah, but man, thank you for being part of this show. And if people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
You guys can find us on Instagram. My Instagram, it's on right here on the backdrop. Only one Gera. You could also find us my business, BR Enviro, on Instagram or TikTok. And then Catch a Pump, newly made Instagram and everything. Currently in the works of growing it and things like that. But yeah, man, primarily we're on Instagram and TikTok right now. So
awesome, brother. Well, thank you for being part of this.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, bro.